Hi, this is drawing class number 11, where we are looking at doing 2-point perspective letters. So we are going to start with a vertical line, and we're just going to get the front of the letter because the depth of it is not as important at this point. So I'm going to mark a line for the front, and then I'm going to draw a line going to my vanishing point. And as you can see, my vanishing points are off the paper. So you see I'm sort of sketching this line over to here. So for this one, I'm going to judge. Now this is where doing letters really makes a difference. I'm going to judge the letter in terms of the width and the height and so on. I also need to pay attention to the fact that letters have a middle bar as well. So for an E, that would be the middle bar of the E. And for the top as well, we have a top bar and a bottom bar as well. And those we can kind of sketch towards it. We can kind of complete these as we work our way down. So for the first letter, we just need to pay attention to the fact that the A here, and do you see it sort of goes to a different point. So I'm doing two parallel lines, and then you see I've got the A letter here. So I could then darken in the letter, and this is a very, very basic font that we could work on, but we can have some fun with that a little bit more. And then you see now I've got the letter A. I then look at my vanishing point over here and take that point and that point. Do you see I'm just sort of directing the line here. Now I might want to make it a little bit deeper than we did the numbers on, but this line here will be parallel to here. So the depth of these is going to be more. And then see the top goes to that vanishing point over there. So we can be nice and perfect with this, and we can then go back over with an eraser and take out some of these lines, and as per normal we can shade it. So all of this would be a dark tone, mid-tone, light tone, and then we're going to get some shadow effects underneath here as well. Okay, let's move on to the letter B. Now this one I'm going to give a little space. So this is a way of coming here. So the letter B is probably going to be the same width, but as it's going off into the distance, I'm going to reduce the width, even though it's the same width in reality. As it goes further into the distance, the width of the object is getting narrower, as is also the height of the object. So this one will be a teeny bit narrower, but I've got the box now for the letter B. I've got some lines here sort of denoting where that top bar is, and I'm sort of constructing a bit of a box. Now I'm going to draw a curve here, and I can also go in and maybe make the top part of the B a little bit smaller. So again, having a bit of fun with the letters. So now I've got the letter sorted out. There. So there is my letter B. Here. And now same thing, I'm going to go over to my vanishing point, go across there. I'm not going to, there's no corners there. Across there. And then it'll be just that top section, the highest point on that curve, where it will go over. I'm going to maybe even take that line to give me a hint as to where that finishes, because it goes around the back of the other one. Right, and again, the shading on this will be darker in here, getting lighter. There we go, like that. Let's go back and look at some of these. Shading underneath is going to be kind of fun to do. This will obviously be my dark tone, but I don't have to make it super dark if I don't want it. Maybe my dark tone is fine, like this color. Let's say it could be, and I could make it a bit darker, showing shadow under here. And then my light mid-tone, like that. If you wanted to experiment with this, you could use a colored pencil to add a bit of fun sketching to it. Okay, we can always go back and clean up where we need. Oh, my pen is coming undone. Okay, so let's do some like a trickier letter, a little bit of a space, and I'm going to do a W this time because that's quite a hard one to do. So in reference to the width of these, a W is going to be significantly wider. So it's all about spacing it out. So there will be the outside bars for the W. Those are the inside bars to the W. And then these are the bottom points on the W. So again, I just join up lines within the box. There, and then that one, and that one. Lots of lines on this one. See, I've got lots of shapes, so I'm now going to darken in the object to figure out where it all goes. So there is the W, and there's the V shape in the middle. And then that's the outside, and then that's the top. We can then go back in and erase out those lines. And then again, going to my vanishing point. It's quite a sharp line. And I've done AB West. I didn't even realize I did that, but anyway. Subliminal messages. Okay, so vertical line there, and a vertical line there. So and there'll be one down there too. So shading, that will obviously be darker. This is a mid-tone here, another mid-tone there. This will be darker than a mid-tone because it's a little bit sloping downhill. So I might go over this a little bit more. And then this will be my darker tone. Again, feel free to use a colored pencil. Okay, there we go. And then we darken it in like that. So there we have ABW. We could also play around with doing another row down here where it would be slightly sharper and it might go underneath. So let's just try one more. I'm just going to do, let's do a D for Dean's House. So I'm going to go down here, but with this one what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with fonts, just one font. So spacing out for fonts, we can put in what's called a little serif, and a serif is that little tail that goes on the top and bottom of a letter. Like these ones are very plain, but this one will be more of a fancy. And then I'm also going to make this a little bit deeper. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to put in the D shape on the front. A curve here, and you'll see it's lower at the bottom, and it gives it a little bit nicer sort of styling, if you like. So this will come up like that, and so now we've got kind of more of a fancy D shape. Again, lines go off to my vanishing point. That's more of a curve there. And there, depending on my thickness of the letter. That's going to be out of sight because that's there. So I've got some shading here, some shading underneath here because it's darker, but it will go into a mid-tone. Just smooth that out a little bit. It will be a bit darker underneath here. Erase out some of these lines. And we could play with the idea that because this is 3D, we're going to get some shadow because that's underneath those ones. But that will actually be a mid-tone. And then here's my dark tone. I'm going to have to build that. Build that. There. Put a bit more dark underneath there. There. So now we have a D shape there. Okay, and that is that. So we have A.B. West and Dean's House. Anyway, have a go yourselves.